Hey guys, Alucard here, also known as an esports legend at asymmetrical games that no one plays. And today's video is about Rush Week, a mode that could have been great, but unfortunately is actually horrible. Especially for Johnny. Now you might be wondering, how the hell could Johnny not be OP if he's killing victims in 1 to 2 hits? Well, trust me, I have a lot of answers and examples in my own clips demonstrating how easy it is to rush out of the attic and escape Johnny. I also demonstrate a lot of other unfair situations where there's just nothing Johnny can do by himself. And oh man, do not even get me started on his bad hit detection, because holy shit is that frustrating. Anyway, I'm going to explain the sad truth of why this mode is going to quickly fail, and very soon nobody will want to play Johnny. Even though I'm not a quote victim main, I still use many of my own clips showing you how I escape Johnny, and it's so easy even for me. I hope you guys enjoy watching. So first, let's talk about Johnny's win condition. While some other content creators and players might have their own delusional definition of what's a win, the developers directly tell us what's a win in the tutorial and in the post-game screen. And that win condition happens to be killing all 6 victims. I don't really see how you would misinterpret this from the tutorial, but let's say you did. The post-game screen also literally says Johnny wins in big bold letters when you kill all the victims. However, it seems like there's a bug where if someone escapes via the ladder and then disconnects from the game before it's over, it'll still say Johnny wins even if you don't kill all 6 victims. However, I'm very sure this is a bug because I tested staying in the match after I escaped from the ladder, and guess what it didn't say on top of the screen when I didn't disconnect? That's right, it didn't say Johnny wins. This is important because the developers have to tell you to kill all 6 victims, since if you didn't have to, you would simply ignore one of the 3 exits, which is the attic, and then camp between the phone and the car from the start of the game. If 2 people immediately escape via the attic because you let them, it would be very easy to kill the rest of the victims before time runs out if they can even make the call. This would become an infinite easy win streak if this was actually considered the win condition, but for obvious reasons, it's not. This is the very beginning of why the mode is so not fun for Johnny, because the attic can be done so quickly from the spawn before Johnny even gets into the map sometimes if he isn't very efficient and forces the front door. While the tutorial gives you the illusion of having options, you really don't, because if you don't take the front door or the ladder, you will probably immediately lose to the attic escape right in the beginning of the game. This sounds like there might be 2 entrance options because of Johnny taking his ladder on the right side of the map. There actually isn't, because if he does take the ladder on the right side of the map, then he won't have the front or side door unlocked unless the victims leave it that way. And that means that victims can easily speedrun through those doors and then relock them for some reason from the outside, and be able to call on the CB radio from the car for free. Because of the infinite threat of how fast victims can rush the attic, you actually have no real options either. You're basically forced to try to rush through the front door as fast as possible, whereas preference if you want to barge it or pick the lock, but I always choose to pick the lock because it's faster. The point of me explaining this is that because of the win condition and how unfair the attic is, it feels like you can literally never win if the victims are actually competent. For example, you can even get punished for getting a kill and stopping another objective, since while you're getting that kill you're stuck in an animation and can't get back to the attic in time to protect it, which puts you in no-win situations where you're going to always lose the game. Lack of options and the feeling that you're chained into the general area of the attic and can't really chase any victim even quickly and try to kill them, or you might instantly lose the game, is frustrating, stressful, and not fun. You actually have to be afraid of even interrupting the process of the victim calling down the ladder, because even if you do, now the attic pole will be lying on the ground forever, for any victim on the team to eventually just run over, pick up, and use, and you can't protect against. So normally you want to let them try to finish it if you can catch them, and then try to break it before they attempt to use it or stun you. But if they know what they're doing, they can do something even like this, where they drop off the ladder with the wrench, turn around and stun me before I can spam the prompt to destroy it. Then they easily escape and I'm sitting there frustrated. This is just the beginning of the terrible design of Rush Week and why very soon nobody's going to want to play Johnny, because it's not fun or enjoyable to basically lose every single match. It's pretty sad to have to be delusional and pretend that you still won if they only escape via the attic, because if that's the case, why ever protect the attic? You might as well just sit there and camp between the phone and the car the entire game. If the game doesn't say Johnny wins in big bold letters and nobody disconnected after getting off the ladder, then guess what? You didn't win. And it's not fun to play a game where you basically can't win if the other side just knows what they're doing. The fact that victims know the only way you can stop an attic rush, as well as potential car CB radio, is by going through the front door, allows them to be fearless as they come up to try to stab you in the back while you're trying to get in still, or preset perfume through the door, or take full control of stopping your lockpicking by unlocking the door and attempting to slam you. Where ironically, even if you kill the person trying this, guess what? Now 2 people escape through the attic. Remember, all this stuff is just from the attic escape being so unfair and stupidly designed. It just doesn't make sense why there's an instant escape when the other 2 main escapes give victims a time limit for you to hunt them and have a chance to still win the game. Now let's talk about the design of not having any powers until you start getting kills. Getting more powerful after you're already winning the game. Does this sound familiar? Well, it should, because this is similar to another failing mechanic known as Grandpa. So it's crazy and baffling to me that the design team took a mechanic that wasn't really working in the base game and that players weren't wanting to utilize, and has now basically transferred it to Rush Week under the disguise of getting kills or powers, since it functions very nearly the same. It's so strange to me that you start the match basically handicapped with a huge proximity warning and the slowest speed, as well as no access to powers as simple as detecting footprints until you start getting kills. What this means is that if victims are already winning, you basically have no chance to come back whatsoever. It also gives them the ability to abuse certain things like the picnic table outside in the backyard even more than they usually can, because you're so much slower than them and have no way to mind game or use a skill like Bloodlust to manage your stamina. Not to mention that while they do give Johnny the fastest execution that he can choose from, similar to Grandpa, it's an animation where he can't defend an objective, and people will take full advantage of that, which can be extremely frustrating. Victims are also learning that Johnny has basically no stun protection during an execution, so right afterwards they can immediately stun him with a knife or a wrench, fearlessly and without any risk. Not only is this frustrating, but it's impressive how the devs are so incompetent that they didn't have any sort of countermeasure for this in place. And I highly doubt they will even a month from now. Another thing that demonstrates how not very smart the design team was, no offense, is that if a victim bleeds out by incapacitating twice via jumping out windows or getting hit while going through a vent, Johnny will now get no kill power the rest of the game for that victim's death, because for some reason the devs only tied it to him doing an execution. Because Johnny can't even track footprints until he gets a couple of kills, means he has no way to attempt to track victims who might be hiding with the attic pole ready to do it the second he goes to stop another objective. It also makes it impossible to counter any sort of snowball lead by the victims, because if they manage to make a phone call while you're getting your first kill, now you have absolutely no way to track them if they just decide to hide somewhere. System makes the frustrating feeling of playing Johnny even worse, because God forbid your dogshit hitboxes don't work when you're supposed to be killing somebody that's clearly right in front of you and you're swinging at them. That just adds so much to the frustration because it snowballs you being weaker and not having access to abilities when you really should have. Being handicapped until you're already winning is just a bad system for the game. I'm pretty sure this mode is not going to last very long, because while some people like to downplay dogshit balancing and design under the label of casual fun, the fact is it's only casual fun for one side, and that side isn't usually disconnecting right at the start of the match. Soon nobody's going to want to play Johnny, and the mode is going to die. Also, the mode kinda seems more competitive than casual, at least from what I've heard in the post-game lobby.
But you know who doesn't have respect? Hacking ass, punk ass, bitch ass Johnnies.
Whoa.
They never will have respect
How do you
ever
think
in
I
their
hacked?
entire life.
Why do you think I hacked?
Could you imagine hacking and cheating
How
above
do you-
the age
how'd I
of 5
cheat?
years old?
How'd I cheat?
Like, could you imagine?
I can't,
You literally have to sit there and be getting no fucking pussy, have no fucking job, and no superiority in life.
While that may be true, I wasn't hacking.
Fucking losing punk bitch made motherfuckers ain't a...
I hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you liked this video, make sure to like, follow, subscribe, and all that other stuff that every other guy tells you to do. See you later.